"Come on, man. You can totally do this," Mike encouraged, slapping his best friend Dave on the back. Dave looked around the crowded gym nervously, his heart racing. He'd never been the athletic type, preferring books and video games to sweat and competition. But here he was, his New Year's resolution to get in shape burning in his mind, ready to conquer the intimidating world of iron and spandex. "You're sure this is a good idea?" Dave asked, his voice cracking slightly. Mike nodded confidently. "Absolutely, bud. We're going to hit the weights, bulk up, and be the kings of the school by prom." The two friends walked up to the reception desk, where a blonde woman in a tight gym outfit was filing her nails. She looked up with a bored expression. "First time?" she asked, not bothering to hide her judgment. "Yeah," Dave mumbled, feeling his face turn red. The woman smirked. "Well, let's get you started with a little orientation, shall we?" She handed them each a pair of headphones. "These are our latest tech. They're synced to your personal workout playlists and have some guided hypnosis tracks to keep you motivated. They're a game changer, I promise." Mike eagerly put his headphones on. "Let's do this," he said, pumping his fist in the air. Dave took a deep breath and followed suit, the cool plastic feeling foreign against his ears. As soon as the music started, he felt a strange sense of calm wash over him. It was like nothing he'd ever heard before, a blend of rhythmic beats and soothing voices that seemed to speak directly to his soul. "Just focus on the sound," the receptionist said with a wink. "You'll see results in no time." The friends parted ways, each heading to their designated starting points. Dave found himself drawn to the treadmills, his feet moving almost on autopilot as the hypnosis track began to play. He didn't know what to expect, but something about the gentle coaxing in his ears made him feel invincible. The voice was like a warm embrace, guiding him through his workout with surprising authority. "You're going to run faster," it said. "Feel your legs becoming lighter, more graceful with each step." And somehow he did. He watched his reflection in the mirror, his legs moving with an uncharacteristic fluidity that surprised him. As the days turned into weeks, Dave found himself looking forward to the gym. The voice grew more and more familiar, whispering sweet nothings about strength and beauty that he never knew he needed to hear. It was his secret, his escape from the mundane reality of his life. Mike noticed the changes in Dave too. His clothes were fitting better, and he walked with a newfound confidence that seemed to draw attention from everyone around them. "Dude, what's your secret?" Mike asked one day after their workout. Dave shrugged, feeling a little sheepish. "It's just the headphones, man. They really get me in the zone." But something else was happening, something that Dave didn't dare admit to anyone. The voice had started to give him suggestions that weren't quite about his workout anymore. It spoke to him about his body, about the way he moved and the clothes he wore. It painted a picture of a person that was so different from who he had always known himself to be. One evening, after a particularly grueling session, Dave stepped into the locker room feeling drained. The voice had been more insistent today, whispering that he should try on some of the women's workout gear he'd seen in the store. He dismissed the thought at first, but the more he resisted, the stronger the urge grew. With trembling hands, he opened his locker and pulled out a pair of tight leggings and a sports bra. They were a size smaller than he usually wore, but something told him they'd fit perfectly. He slipped them on under his baggy gym shorts and t-shirt, feeling the fabric hug his newfound curves. As he looked in the mirror, Dave's heart skipped a beat. The reflection staring back at him was not the one he expected. His waist looked narrower, his hips more pronounced, and his legs longer and leaner. He felt a strange thrill run through him, a feeling that was equal parts excitement and terror. The voice in his headphones grew softer, more intimate. "You're looking good, Dave," it said. "But wouldn't you look even better as a woman?" Dave froze, his breath catching in his throat. He'd never considered such a thing before, but now, with the fabric of the sports bra pressing against his chest and the leggings accentuating his newfound curves, the thought didn't seem so far-fetched. The locker room was empty, so he took a risk. He pulled his shirt over his head, revealing the sports bra and the slight bulge of his developing breasts. He cupped them in his hands, feeling their weight, their softness. It was unlike anything he'd ever felt before, and he couldn't help but be fascinated. The voice grew bolder, whispering words of encouragement and praise, telling him how much more attractive he'd be as a female. Dave's thoughts swirled in a whirlwind of confusion and curiosity. He reached into his locker and pulled out a wig, a long blonde one that he'd bought on a whim after hearing the voice's suggestions. With shaking hands, he put the wig on, watching as the reflection in the mirror transformed before his very eyes. The bangs fell gently across his forehead, framing his now softer features. He applied some makeup that he'd stolen from his sister's room, just enough to highlight his cheekbones and make his eyes pop. The transformation was surprisingly complete. He looked like a different person, a beautiful, confident woman who could conquer the world. The voice grew stronger, more commanding. "You need to accept this," it told him. "You need to become her." Dave felt a battle raging inside him, a struggle between the person he thought he was and the person the voice was telling him he could be. His mind raced, trying to make sense of it all, but the voice was soothing, convincing, and it was winning. The locker room door swung open and Mike stumbled in, his face red from exertion. He did a double take when he saw Dave, his mouth hanging open in shock. What are you doing?" he stammered. Dave took a deep breath and turned to face his friend, a strange smile playing on his lips. "I'm becoming who I'm meant to be," he said, his voice softer, more melodious than it had ever been. Mike stared for a moment, then laughed nervously. "Dude, you're freaking me out. Take those off." But Dave didn't move. He knew that he couldn't go back, not now. The voice had become a part of him, guiding him down this uncharted path of feminization. The gym grew quieter as the night went on, the only sounds the distant thud of weights and the rhythmic beat of the voice in his headphones. Dave felt a surge of adrenaline as he stepped out of the locker room and into the main gym floor, the eyes of other patrons lingering on him longer than he was used to. He walked over to the free weights, the voice in his head encouraging him to lift heavier, to push himself further. As he picked up the dumbbells, he noticed the glances from the other men around him, their expressions a mix of confusion and admiration. The voice grew more insistent with every workout, whispering new commands, new suggestions. "You need to dress like a woman all the time," it told him. "You need to live as a woman." Dave found himself buying more and more feminine clothes, spending hours in front of the mirror perfecting his makeup, his heart racing every time he stepped out of the house dressed as the woman he was becoming. One day, as he was leaving the gym, the voice spoke to him with a new urgency. "You need to tell Mike," it said. "He deserves to know the truth." Dave felt a knot in his stomach. He knew that telling Mike would change everything, but the voice was right. He couldn't keep this part of himself hidden anymore. That night, he called Mike over to his house, his heart racing as he tried to find the right words. Mike looked at him, puzzled. "What's going on, man? You've been acting weird lately." Dave took a deep breath and began to explain the hypnosis, the voice, and the changes he'd been going through. He showed him the clothes, the makeup, and the wig, his hands shaking as he recounted his experiences in the locker room. Mike was silent for a long moment, his eyes wide. "You're serious?" he finally asked. Dave nodded. "I can't ignore it anymore. I need to be true to myself." Mike leaned back in his chair, his eyes searching Dave's face for any sign of doubt. "Okay," he said slowly. "But what does that mean exactly?" Dave took another deep breath. "It means, I think I'm transgender. I think I'm supposed to be a woman." The room was silent, the only sound the ticking of the clock on the wall. Mike looked at his best friend, the person he'd known his whole life, and saw someone entirely new. He didn't know what to say, so he just nodded. The days that followed were a roller coaster of emotions for both of them. Mike was torn between his friendship with Dave and his own confusion about what this meant for their relationship. He had questions, so many questions, but he didn't want to push too hard. Dave, on the other hand, felt a mix of relief and fear. The weight of his secret had been lifted, but now he faced the reality of coming out to the world. The voice in his headphones was now a constant companion, guiding him through his transition, but it was a transition that was happening so fast, it was hard to keep up. As the weeks turned into months, Dave grew more comfortable in his new skin. He legally changed his name to Daphne and started hormone therapy. The voice in his headphones had become a part of his identity, a guide through this new world of femininity. Mike did his best to support Daphne, but it was clear that their friendship had shifted. They no longer talked about the same things, and Mike couldn't shake the feeling that he was losing his best friend to someone he didn't quite understand. One day, as they were working out together, Mike looked over at Daphne and saw the strength and confidence that radiated from her. He realized that even though she was different, she was still the same person he'd known all along, just happier. With a smile, he gave her a nod of acceptance. "Thanks," Daphne said, her voice now a soft melody that matched her new appearance. "It means a lot." Mike grinned. "You got this, Daphne. You're going to kick ass no matter what." And so, the two friends continued to navigate this new chapter of their lives, side by side. The hypnosis had led Daphne down a path she never would have expected, but it was one that she embraced wholeheartedly. With every workout, every step she took in her heels, and every challenge she faced, she grew stronger and more confident in her identity. The gym that had once been a source of intimidation had become her sanctuary, a place where she could be herself and grow into the person she was always meant to be. And as she looked in the mirror, she knew that she was exactly where she belonged. Thank you so much for watching till now. It means the world to have you here. This community is all about empowering each other and celebrating the incredible journeys of everyone on their path to living authentically. If you're ever feeling lost or alone, remember you have a whole family here for you. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and let's keep inspiring each other, sending you all the love and strength in the world. Until next time, live your life by your rules.